Much like the slowly turning vault of heaven circling the earth, the shifting lineup of legendary death metal Anunnaki Morbid Angel twist and turn around the central axis of Trey Azagthoth, he of the volcanic guitar eruptions and viscerally esoteric modus operandi. Following his circuit, newcomers Scott Fuller supplanting the inhuman battery machine Pete Sandoval on drums, and Dan Vadum Vaughn standing tall on guitar, join returning luminary Steve Tucker on bass and vocals to complete this current incarnation of Azagthoth's death metal heresy. Descending like a biblical swarm of locusts, Morbid Angel storms the Pittsburgh suburb of Millvale on the 31st day of May in the final quarter of the 6th millennium with fellow pestilent veterans Suffocation, Tech Death Threshers Revocation, and the blistering assailants of Withered. With a potent performance, the blackened death rage of Atlanta's Withered finds a receptive audience to those fortunate enough to arrive early. A blazing set, underpinned by the masterful bass work of the renowned virtuoso Colin Marston, Withered deliver a ferocious invocation, whipping up the audience and setting the tone for a night of sonic violence. Emerging from the withering maelstrom, New England's Death Technicians Revocation mount the stage for a breakneck performance. Spindly riffs pummel and searing guitar solos echo through the confines of Mr. Smalls. After a brief pause to mention their merch guy's birthday, the band launches into Scorched Earth Policy from 2014's Deathless, the guitar solos shearing faces like a death metal Trey Anastasio, as we soon charge headfirst into the final song of Revocation's impressive 30-minute sonic assault, the sweeping epic of crushing brutality, Crumbling Imperium, from 2016's Great Is Our Sin. Emanating from Long Island nearly 30 years ago, death metal legends Suffocation take the stage to a hero's welcome, with founding offender Terrence Hobbs on guitar and longtime member Derek Boyer on bass. 2017 finds Suffocation with a revitalized lineup, rounded out by Eric Morodi on drums, Charlie Arago on guitar, and Kevin Muller replacing founding member Frank Mullen on vocals. A very angry cookie monster, Kevin Muller fills Frank Mullen's prodigious shoes with brutal aplomb as the band tears into songs both old and new. Your Last Breath, from the band's most recent release, and Frank Mullen's swan song, Of the Dark Light, is particularly gnarly, with a mid-paced opening giving way to off-kilter riffing and an excellent solo from Terrence Hobbs. 1991's Liege of Inveracity churns with merciless delight, while Pierce from Within, Catatonia, and Infecting the Crypts close Suffocation's 45-minute set with a string of classics from these Long Island death metal innovators. Filling the formerly hallowed halls of Mr. Smalls, the swarming intro track Kawatsu heralds the arrival of the Timeless Ones, the vast and eternal Morbid Angel. Led by the Ancient One himself, Trey Azagthoth, this recension, featuring the return of late and early millennial rager Steve Tucker on bass and vocals, draws completely from his releases with the band. The transformative triumvirate, formulas Fatal to the Flesh, Gateways to Annihilation, and Heretic. Emerging from the darkened stage, Summoning Redemption, from Gateways to Annihilation, kicks off the night with a slow, roiling groove. Spiteful and malicious, the returning Steve Tucker's vocal delivery, more than capable of awakening the slumbering gods deep in their ziggurat redoubt. Dan Vadum Vaughn, taking the first lead, shows his lethality before the inimitable Trey Azagthoth takes an interdimensional diversion with his six-string destruction. Bill Orsog, from Steve Tucker's debut album with the band, Formulas Fatal to the Flesh, follows with its percussive battery and relentless attack, while I, from Gateways to Annihilation, crushes the audience with its methodical mid-pace drive. Up next, Warped, a new song from the band's promised forthcoming album, slowly oozes from the stage. A sadistic double bass attack underlies a slowly creeping guitar crawl, while the song's final moments feature some squalling guitar work that only adds to the unsettled maliciousness of the song. To the Victor the Spoils rages through the audience, guttural vocals and guttural guitars working in tandem to unsettle every stomach in the house. The song's swift, rigid pace quickening the pulse before the ambient heretic instrumental Abyssius gives the band and fan a brief respite. Fellow heretic track Curse the Flesh then swallows the crowd in its slow, saturnine groove and Steve Tucker's spiteful vocals. Prayer of Hatred swings with an otherworldly pull, and compatriot formula track Covenant of Death charges forward with the song's slow, skulking final two-thirds, thickening the blood of everyone in the room. Out of the slow sonic dispersion, closing out Covenant of Death, the scathing vigor of Praise the Strength abrades with its incessant thump and another virulent vocal performance from Mr. Steve Tucker. Speaking of Steve Tucker, the next song is announced as his personal favorite from 2003's Heretic, the outstanding volcanic outflow of Beneath the Hollow. Unsettled riffs and stilted rhythms, this track slowly skulks through the audience, rife with unease and sonic malevolence. Ageless Still I Am, from Gateways to Annihilation, closes out the band's set. An incessant driving number, Ageless Still I Am ramps up its decisive moment, ending with a set with a raging flurry. Returning for an encore, the band continues with Nothing Is Not, with a slowly turning primal chug and an even slower, crushingly heavy breakdown to finish the number. Drawing from the Gateway well, Trey, Steve, and company find themselves deep in the most fetid sludge swamp with He Who Sleeps, another affecting, slow song that showcases the band's ability to grab the audience and sonically dominate them with a crushing atmosphere. Returning to formulas for one final time tonight, the quick-paced confrontation of Umulamari seethes from the stage. Vitriolic and repressive, Umulahari decimates the audience with a strident send-off from these Floridian legends. Swarming the city like some ancient plague, one of the founding fathers of death metal, Trey Azagthoth, and his lifelong obsession, Morbid Angel, return triumphant to the city of Pittsburgh. May 31st, 2017, the time, Mr. Smalls and Millvale the place, with the returning Steve Tucker resuming bass and vocal duties, and new recruits Scott Fuller and Dan Vadum Vaughn on drums and guitar respectively. The band puts together a set drawing heavily on Steve Tucker's 3 albums with the band. With Withered and Revocation opening the show, and fellow death metal mainstay Suffocation providing direct support, Morbid Angel have put together a superior death metal tour to open the summer.
I'm gonna do another one now from Heretic. It's my personal favorite from this album. The song is called Beneath the Hollow. Hollow words can't kill.